Wow. So you've gone from 80, 90 hours a week, earning kind of not very much, and you're now on 7 hours a week and 10 grand a month.
It's good,
Can
isn't
you
it?
actually look at your face
We have to pinch ourselves.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Money Matters, because as you know, I believe that money does matter. To give you choices like this, I want every single one of you to be able to live wherever you want in the world, to do whatever you want in the world with whoever you want, whenever you want. How are you going to be able to do that? Well, you need to stop working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and you're going to have to start working 6 or 7 hours a week. You have to increase your earnings by £10,000 a month or more. Sound hard? Sound challenging? What I want to do now, immediately, is introduce you to Geraldine and Alan, because they've done it. They've been part of the Touchstone family for 3 or 4 years now. Over to us. Hello, Alan and Geraldine. How are you?
Hello. Hi, how
Hello
are you?
there. We're really good, thank you.
Brilliant. Now, just to give the lovely people watching this Money Matters a feel for what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about joint ventures, legal compliance, the criticality of doing it right. Alan, Geraldine, how long have we known each other now?
3, 4 years?
Yeah.
3, 4 years? A while. Let's say a while.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So over those 3 or 4 years, I've got to say that from my perspective, your lives have absolutely changed. Alan, when I first met you, what was your life like?
Business-wise, it was a bit of a mess, to be honest. It was, if you remember, I had a cleaning company and we were servicing holiday accommodation. I was running around like a headless chicken. I really was.
How many hours a week would you say that you were working?
It must have been 70, 80 hours a week. It was like I was just always on call. There was never any downtime.
So, what fascinated me about you, I actually met you on a service accommodation course. You were effectively doing service accommodation, managing units for other people. The only thing you weren't doing was charging them for it. You were just doing
it. Totally, yeah.
You were doing it as like a freebie in order to get the cleaning business.
Yeah, it was. It was a cleaning business, and I bolted on so much more to it that it was a management company, but I wasn't getting paid to manage all of these properties.
So how many properties were you managing?
At the time, it was about 50 properties.
Jeez, as a part-time, unpaid job.
One person, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Looking from the outside is often more revealing, Geraldine. So, what was it like, or what was Alan like? You know, thinking back 3, 4 years ago, what was your life like?
Yeah, it was. Well, looking back, it was really quite horrible, to be honest. Alan was really stressed. Holidays used to be a nightmare. You know, we'd go to Ireland and you'd be sitting. We'd be sitting on the floor of the airport and he'd have a calendar in front of him and he'd be writing things down and I'd be saying things. It was just like, it was ridiculous. Yeah.
So what does life look like now?
It is radically different. The way we do business is so much more controlled. We're just so much more on top of things. The cleaning business is now evolved into a management company. We still use cleaning companies. We don't have our own cleaners going out there, and I don't go out there doing the cleans anymore.
Yeah.
So it's very much office based for us, really, isn't it?
And we've got from a distance. Free time kind of thing to actually critically look at the business and see what's working and what's not working. And that thing of clearing out problem parts of the business type thing is much more. You're not chasing your tail, so we're able to actually have time to.
And that sounds great, but just to make sure we put some numbers on it, how many hours a week do you work, and how many hours a week do you have to work? Because they're not the same thing, are they?
True.
Yeah, for maintaining and keeping things as they are now, which we don't want to do, just we want to get better. It's probably about 6, 7 hours a week.
Yeah, we could easily get by on that
between
if
us.
We had to. Yeah.
Okay, so that's insane. You've gone from whatever you said, 80, 90 hours a week, working all the hours God sent, sitting on airport floors, looking at guest calendars while you're supposed to be focused on your family, through to 6 or 7 hours a week. That's like 10% of the hours that you used to work. Are you making more money or less money?
A lot Way more.
I don't think, looking back, I don't think I was not actually making any money.
No.
All of the money that I was making was going to the tax man at the end of the year.
Tell me to mind my own business if it's too much of a personal question, but you've come from, potentially not very much through to, what would you say is a typical monthly income now from your property business and everything?
Just over 10,000.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've gone from 80, 90 hours a week, earning kind of not very much, apart from a load of stress. And you're now on 7 hours a week and 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
Can you actually,
it's good, isn't
can you
it?
actually look at your face and
we have to pinch ourselves.
Look at each other and just, it's just insane, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely brilliant. We couldn't really have believed that it was for us that we could do this, because we were so busy just doing it all wrong.
Yeah. Well, I would never knock hard work, but you were, and this isn't directed at you, but there's expressions like busy fools and
I'm just going to say that.
things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not having, I'm just saying, what would you attribute that transformation to? How did it just happen, or?
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, that's lucky.
Purely education.
Yeah.
That it started with education.
Yeah, and carries on with education. Everything we do is because it never stops now, and it's we're there's always stuff changing in the world, obviously, and there's always new things to learn, and there's so much that we don't know yet, but we've managed to do this with the amount that we do know. People
like you are the exact reason that I do what I do, because I like to think I can play some small part in helping people to help themselves. And that's a critical thing. I can share the education, share the knowledge, but ultimately your success is fairly and squarely on you guys. You've earned every single hour that you now have with the kids and each other, and you've earned every single pound. And to give everybody watching a feel for what does your property business look like, well, you've obviously got a service accommodation management company, because you've said that already. You've got your own service accommodation units, and I guess that was not second nature, but you were in that world already, so you knew a lot of the basics.
Yeah.
But you've gone on to add all sorts of things like buy, refurbish, remortgage, and I believe you're doing rent to rent service accommodation as well. Yeah,
we are doing rent to rent. Yes, yeah. So we've got 4 of them as well. Sorry, we're taking on 5th. There's another one coming on board in the next week or so.
Isn't it nice when you get to the point that you
you're like, how many?
Oh yeah. Okay, but if we could talk about any one of your property strategies, but what I've asked everybody, all you viewers out there in internet land, I asked if Alan and Geraldine would mind sharing just a couple of almost entry-level buy, refurbish, remortgage properties. So we've got some pictures here. So if you're just talking about these pictures, Alan or Geraldine, and just talk us through, the purchase price, where did you find it, how did you do the refurb, that kind of stuff.
So this was a 2-bed property in Rotherham. The plan was to turn that into a 3-bed. The purchase price was 70,000. We had a building company quote for the full refurb. The refurb cost came to just over 19,000.
Yeah.
Legals and stamp came to 228. So the total spend in that was 91,900.
Okay.
Once it was converted and the refurb was done, we had that revalued at 105. So that we were able to take 77,700 out of that, leaving a little bit in. We're left just over 14,000 in the deal. Mm-hmm. Mortgage payments 238, and we're achieving a rent of 595. So that's given us a profit of £237 a month. We've actually taken off 20% to cover management and any repair costs, that sort of thing as well. So that property was an ROI of, it's a 20% with what we've left in. So
which is absolutely fabulous, because I know most people, if they were looking at buying a simple little buy-to-let, for 105,000, well, they wouldn't buy it and do what you guys did to it. They'd buy it finished. So the purchase price would have been 105. So you'd have needed to put down, say, a 25% deposit on that, which would have been 26,000. Plus, you would needed stamp duty, legal fees, this, that, and the other thing. So you'd have been into the 30 odd thousands, wouldn't you? But doing it this way, you've tied up less than half the money that, let's call them, a normal landlord would. Because a normal landlord would just buy it and tie up a load of cash, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And the way you're looking at it, Geraldine, is you're saying, well, okay, whatever you said, 14,000 left in, we're getting an annual return of 20%. Those are the kind of projects that you need to be able to do to make yourselves interesting for an investor to want to work with. Again, when you started the journey 3-4 years ago, did you think you'd be doing projects like this and turning a 2-bed into a 3-bed and recycling?
No, we've become a bit anti-property, to be honest.
For the sake of a round number, you guys are making 10 grand a month. So if you wanted to, sensibly, you could buy one of these properties and leave 10,000-15,000 in it every 2 or 3 months, couldn't you? If you wanted to.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'd be no issues at all. But then I guess the question that smart property investors ask is, well, why can't I keep my £10,000 a month and do one of these a month by using other people's money? And for the sake of an argument, if I wanted to work with you on that property that we've just been through, you said, right, Paul, I'm going to find the property, I'm going to organise the builder, I'm going to organise the tenant. What you need to do is you need to put in, or you would need to be the one that leaves in the £14,000. We'll pay you some interest. That's fine. Because there'd be an awful lot of investors that would be out there that would be saying, if I've got to leave £14,000 in the deal, I want 6%, 7%, whatever the figure is. But you could easily afford to pay that and you'd still be making great profits while paying the investor, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Are you guys open to working with investors, or are you just determined to do all this on your own?
Oh no, we're definitely open to working with investors.
All
right. So we'll share your contact details just here. So what's just appeared on the screen there is the email address so that you can get hold of these guys. But the other way to get hold of Alan and Geraldine is probably in the Touchstone Education Facebook community, and just maybe friend you or send you a message there. Are you okay with that?
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Okay, but then let's look at this next example. But let's pretend that, I know you've refurbished it and you've remortgaged it, but let's pretend you want us to do a deal with me where we didn't keep it, we sold it. So you source a property, you do the refurbishment, and then at the end of it, you sell it. And I don't get interest, I get half of the profit. Now, that's not lending money for interest, is it? That is literally a joint business venture.
That's right, yes.
So on this second one, can you talk me through the numbers? And then what I'll maybe do is talk everybody through what the law says and what you've got to make sure of.
The second property that we had, it was the purchase price was 58,000. We refurbished again for 20,794 and converted from a 2 to a 3 bed and things like that. So we're just talking numbers, but
sounds very casual and very easy. Oh yeah, just that's all.
Yeah. Well, it worked for the other one well, so it did seem to uplift it from the point of view of rent and also from obviously the value of the property at the end. The stamp duty and legals was 2,600, finder's fee 3,000, and the total spend was 84,394, and that was revalued at 95,000. And the money that's come out, if we weren't selling it, is 71, just under 72,000. The rent is 545. The mortgage repayments are £190.70. So the ROI on that one is 23%, and the profit per month is £245.30.
I mean, I know it's only a relatively small property, and I know it's only a £50,000 purchase price, but the principles apply, and the same principles apply. So in this particular case, or in the previous case, if we'd have sold it, if we were in business together and we sold it, the profit on that one would have been what, £10,000 or something like that?
Yes, right. What's 84? Yeah.
Do you think it would be fair that if, for instance, I'd provided all the money, there wasn't a mortgage, so you've got reductions in finance costs, you've got reductions in things like mortgage application fees and all that stuff. So if I just said, well, there's the money, there's the 84,000 to buy it and refurbish it. How long did that project take end to end?
Quite a while. COVID got involved in it all, okay. And so
okay. Well, let's normalise the question then. Yeah. How long should it have taken were it not for COVID?
It should probably have only taken 6-7 months, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So to buy it, refurbish it, sell it 6 months, let's say, and let's say I took 50% of the profits as my benefit and you took 50% of the profit. Well, for lending less than £100,000, if I'm picking up £5,000 in 6 months, that's the equivalent of 10% a year, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure there's going to be lots of investors. In fact, can you just drop a comment below if you like the idea of 10% return on your money backed by first charge on an unencumbered property? So I'm going to decode that for anyone that didn't understand what I just said. I know you two know what I just said. So if I was going to make the investment in this property as an example, then because there's no bank involved, I could take first charge, which is bank grade security. And if somebody was funding the whole project, Alan and Geraldine, would you be okay with letting them take first charge?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah.
Because I mean, essentially, whoever you lend most of the money from, whether it's a bank or whether it's pretty much whoever lends most money wants first charge, don't they?
Yeah.
And the second bit that I said, on an unencumbered property, unencumbered just means there is no mortgage. So it's pretty straightforward. So it's essentially the strongest property security you can have. And 10% return on your money. So that seems like a fairly attractive proposition, given that bank interest rates are, well, I never used a rude word, not great. So there would be a couple of things that you guys would need to do, as I know you know. So to go back to what I said at the start, FCA 13/3 compliance, and that essentially means that you would need to vet me. So how would you feel about vetting, not me, but how would you feel about vetting any investor? Do you think that's an important part of the process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, because it could catch up with you several years down the line if you don't do your vetting at the start, really. And it's just, it's a business at the end of the day. It just doesn't make sense not to do it, really, or to feel embarrassed about it. It's just business.
No, I completely agree with that. And so often when you go to the doctor, he asks or she asks all sorts of personal questions, and you have to answer the doctor's questions, otherwise he or she's going to misdiagnose you, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the same thing with an independent financial advisor or something, whatever, mortgage broker. You have to reveal very personal financial information, otherwise they can't help you.
Yeah.
And the whole FCA 13/3 process is the same thing. Now, from my perspective, if somebody says to me, well, okay, but before we even talk about any projects, we need to make sure that you're either high net worth or sophisticated. So briefly, everybody out there in internet land, high net worth means I or another investor would have to be earning at least £100,000 a year or more and prove it to Alan and Geraldine. That's thing one. Or thing two, I could have more than £250,000 that isn't my main residence and that isn't my pension. It could be some stocks and shares, or it could be some gold, or it could be, well, anything really that isn't specifically, it can't be my home or my pension, but it could be anything else. Yeah. So that will make me high net worth. And that's either one of those, not both. And I'd have to do a self-certification. But from my perspective, that would actually fill me with comfort that you guys know what you're doing. It wouldn't be, oh my God, they're asking personal questions. It would be, oh, that's good. They're professional. Yeah. They know what the law is.
Yeah.
The other thing I could be is what's called sophisticated, which means I've made 2 or more unregulated investments. Again, that could be buy to lets, it could be unlisted stocks and shares, it could be investments in crowdfunding, but that shouldn't be Alan and Geraldine's problem. That's my problem, because if I'm saying I'm sophisticated, I need to be sophisticated enough to know what that actually means. Otherwise, fail. What other things would you guys look for when it comes to, do you want to work with an investor or not?
I think we've got to look whether we're the right fit.
Yeah.
Whether you've got to get along with somebody. This is a business agreement at the end of the day. So you've got to have the same mindset. Look for the same outcomes. So that's a vital part of it, really. There might, the finance is one side, but you've got to fit with the right people as well.
And I would say that, I know it's not a legal requirement, but I would say, Alan and Geraldine, that's probably even more important. If we move it on to what are Geraldine and Alan doing just now, those are the kind of entry-level projects. You're doing some bigger projects just now, aren't you? So up into the hundreds of thousands instead of So having made sure that all the legal paperwork's done, and from an interpersonal point of view, you're a good fit. If anybody watching this video wants to reach out and just talk to you about, well, how did you do what you do, or what's your view on service departments, or whatever, are you guys open to that? Because I think the Touchstone community is very open, helps each other, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah, it's I'm no guarantees that I know the answers to all your questions, but I'm happy to do. Happy to do answer what we can, really.
Well, shock, horror, surprise. There's another person over here that doesn't know the answer to every question. So if you want the lottery numbers for Saturday, you're out of luck. I ain't got a clue. You know as well as I do. So perfect. And essentially, I think you guys are fantastic examples of people that have really got their lives together. You're working so hard for so little money, and to see you transformed now to, look at that Geraldine smile, I love it, and Alan's smile as well, transformed to 10 grand a month proper money for 7 hours a week. That's inspirational. I know a lot of people are going to want to reach out and just say, well, how on earth did you do that? And I guess more importantly, how can I do the same thing? So if I ask it on everybody's behalf, wow, amazing, hats off, brilliant. But then inside, most people are thinking, well, how do I do that? How do I get to 6 figures a year, more than £100,000 a year, and I only have to work 6, 7 hours a week? Knowing what you know now, what would you recommend somebody does that's watching this video?
I would get educated anyway. Very first thing,
It's one of those things. It's never going to happen overnight. You need to put the work in. It starts with education, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for your time. And for anybody watching this that wants to take the first step with Touchstone, you know, if you do actually want to do that with Touchstone, my recommendation would be hit the link below and get yourself along to 2 days at Wealth Through Property, because it's online, nominal fee just to attend, and it really introduces you to all the different property strategies, because Alan and Geraldine don't do all of them.
No.
Service accommodation, tick, we talk about that. Rent to rent, tick, we talk about that. We've just been talking about joint venture finance, tick, we talk about that. Buy, refurbish, remortgage, we talk about that. But as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you guys are doing commercial property.
Not at the moment.
No, it's something we're looking at the moment.
Yeah.
On the list, okay.
We've looked
Yeah.
at it, yeah.
But some people, they come in and they're like, I want to do commercial property, but that hasn't been your journey yet. There is no exact roadmap. Everybody's roadmap is going to be different. But just to give anybody a feel for what else is covered on Wealth Through Property, Geraldine, you mentioned it just now. You said it was like spaghetti. You were trying to unravel things, and the generic name for all that in my book is mindset. So actually so that is one of the things that we major on at Touchstone, is get your mindset straight. You know, famously Henry Ford said, if you think you can, you think you can't, you're probably right. And there's loads of other stuff as well, you know, lease options, deal packaging, whatever. So and tax and company structure. So whatever stage you're at in terms of your interest in becoming wealthy through property, hit that link. And if you like the idea of it, come along and join us for 2 days. Alan, Geraldine, it's been an absolute pleasure. Well done for all your success. It's just stunning and inspirational. And thank you for inspiring so many other people, as I know you do. Good luck with whatever you do next, because I really don't know what you're going to do next, but I do know it's going to be amazing, whatever you do next. So thank you so much from the entire community to you guys for doing what you do. And I'm going to sign off like I normally do. You've been wonderful. They've been Alan and Geraldine. I've been Paul. See you next time.